Hey guys, welcome to this live video. I'm just gonna be on here for a minute before we get started while people start joining us live. So if you can hear me, make sure you can hear me and it's not too loud or too quiet. We have a live chat so you can leave comments in there, but basically what we're gonna be doing is, okay, let me see these comments. Hold on, let me find the chat. Let's get all situated here. Can you guys see the chat? Can I see the chat? I mean, I'd have to see the chat to be able to make sure I can see. I mean, obviously you can see the chat and type in it, but if I can't see it, then I'll never know, right? Okay, so I'm gonna find the chat. I'm a little nervous, guys. This is the first time. I'm gonna say hello in the chat. Tell me if you can see it. Okay, this is the first time I've gone live in over 2 years, and the last time I went live, I was announcing our photog blog, and look how it's grown in those years. Oh, yay, you can see the chat. Okay, whoop. Yay, you should see my setup. I've got like this swivel chair that my stuff's on. Anyways, it's crazy. Okay, so this is my first time going live. Is my mic too loud? Now someone check my mic. Is it crazy? Okay. So this is my first time going live in over 2 years. The last time I went live, I announced our photog blog, which is my group that I started to kind of make a more kind photography community online, because I loved being a part of photography groups. Hey, Marie and Kylee. Okay, so I loved being a part of groups, Facebook groups, but I hated how mean they were in there. I hated, like, you would post something and they would embarrass you and you never wanted to post again. And I'm like, this is so dumb. Why the heck would I ever post in this group asking for advice? Because they would bully me, they'd be mean, and I just hated it. So I started our photog blog 2 years ago, and I started with a webinar. And the webinar was like the first thing I did to start our photog blog, and now it's grown to over 3,000 members. So I have a really exciting announcement at the end, but I'm gonna get right into this free training. I think people are probably getting the email right now to get the link, but a lot of you guys were waiting, which is awesome. You're the early birds. I am doing a giveaway. So here are the rules for the giveaway. I wrote them down so I wouldn't mess them up. So I'm gonna give away a $100 gift card at the end of this, where you can use it for 90 days of marketing. You can use it for our photog blog stuff. It's to Kylee Studios. You could even use it for a photo session if you wanted. Really, there's no really rules. It's just, it comes through me. It doesn't come through, you know, it's not to Target. You can't use it anywhere. It's just through Kylee Studios. So I'm giving $100 at the end of this live video. And here are the 2 things you have to do to enter. First, you have to share a picture of you watching the live webinar or a screenshot of the webinar. You don't have to do a selfie or a picture of your computer. You can screenshot as well if you're watching on your phone. And share it on your Instagram story and tag Kylee Studios or in a photography Facebook group. It can be in our photog blog, it can be anywhere, but you have to tag Kylee Studios and show, like, I'm so excited, I'm learning whatever, or I'm so excited to learn. This is what I did learn. It can be any of those things, but sometime between now and 11, you have to share a picture of you watching, tag me, and post it online. And then the second thing is leave a comment in the chat with your favorite takeaway throughout the class. So you can do it the first time you hear something that inspires you. Say, oh my gosh, I love blah, 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 blah. Or at the end, you can say my favorite takeaway was. So you can do it 2 ways. So anyways, the winners are going to be announced on this live. This is only available to those who are watching live. And so I'm going to announce it at the very end when I get my face back on here and after the class is over. Also, if you have any questions, leave the questions and I'm going to come back and answer live before I announce the giveaway. I'll answer any questions that you have. So if you have questions, leave them there. I'm going to have my team copying and pasting questions so that at the end I have a list of questions to answer. So thanks for joining us. Super excited. I'm going to get right into this. If you have any problems, leave them in the chat if you can't hear me or if whatever. There is going to be a replay link, so if you do have to leave and come back, that's okay. But you will want to stay to the end because there's going to be an amazing announcement. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And there's also going to be the giveaway. So make sure you stay live. If you're in, I can't see how many people are live. So leave comments because then it will make me feel like you guys are actually here and I'm talking to someone. So, oh, the giveaway. I'll tell the giveaway rules one more time since it's live and you're not going to be able to rewatch this part. I'm not going to clip this part into the replay because they're not going to get anything from this giveaway. So I will also be posting it in the comments throughout to remind you, or my team will be. I'll be talking. So the giveaway rules are you will get $100 gift card for any live viewer if you share a picture of you watching the live webinar and post it on Instagram stories or in a Facebook group. You have to post either a screenshot of the webinar on your phone or a picture of your computer or a selfie of you watching it, something from the webinar, post it on Instagram story or on your Facebook group. So it doesn't have to be an Instagram post or Facebook post. It can just be on your story, but tag Kylee and Studios. And then the second thing is leave a comment in the chat box right here that's your favorite takeaway from the class. So you can do that throughout. If you hear something that like, I needed that counts. Or at the end, you can say my favorite takeaway was blah, blah, blah. So stay engaged in the comments because that's going to help you win. And if you have any questions throughout, leave them in the chat and I'll come back on and answer them at the end. And my team will be in the chat too, so if you have anything that's not working out, just comment in there. We're going to be in there and they're going to be sending me questions and all that. So if you think of something while you are the true, you paused The Bachelor to watch this, you are a true supporter. I love that. Hopefully this will be worth it for you because The Bachelor's pretty good. I haven't watched in a couple seasons because I didn't like Ari's season and it kind of killed it for me. So anyways, okay, we're going to get right into this now and make sure you're commenting and you're doing the things. I'm going to post the rules right now in the chat before I get on, and then I'll have my team keep commenting so that you can, oh, too many characters, so that you can have a chance to win. So I'm going to be giving away $100 at the end of this, guys, and that is going to be, you're going to want that after you see what the big announcement is, I promise. So, and like I said, you can use it for photography, you can use it for mentoring, you can use it for the shop, you can use it for 90 days of marketing. So here we go. Let's get started. Today, I want to talk about 3 ways to take your business to the next level. So I want to shift your mindset from being that small business, family and friends photographer to thinking like a CEO. So I'm going to share 3 different things that I use in my business that took me to that level. So before I begin, I just want to welcome you into this conversation. I'm going to share some experiences of growing a team, but this class is not about growing a team. There's going to be parts of the story that aren't going to relate to you. It might be something you're not aspiring to be, but this class is still for you. It's about growing a business that you run instead of a business that runs you and your life and your time. So this is for you if you just started a business and you're not sure where to even go next. This is for you if you're running a successful business on the outside, but you're struggling on the inside. The back end is not as pretty as the front end. You're feeling overworked, overwhelmed, and you can't keep up with it. And this is for you if you want to grow your business, but you're at your max capacity. You can't even imagine adding one more thing to your crazy plate. This is not for you if you love to wear all the hats and you don't feel overwhelmed about any part of it. You are a unicorn, so congratulations. Oh, and there's a huge announcement at the end of this video, so make sure you stay till the very, very end. Okay, I want to tell you a little bit about Kylee Studios. So Kylee Studios began with a love story. That is me. It began with my love story. So it was our first Valentine's Day as an engaged couple. We were super broke and we were saving our money for a wedding just a month away. And I had recently shared my dreams with him of one day owning a photography business. When I went into his room that Valentine's Day, his Xbox was gone, and instead there was a box wrapped up in its place. Inside that box was my very first camera, and that was the beginning of Kylee Photography. All it took was a dream and a boy that loved his girl more than his Xbox. That's what I tell people. This is our gift of love story. A few months later, I bought back his Xbox with my first wedding money, and we're married for almost 8 years now. So super fun to have our love story start Kylee Studios because it has been a labor of love these last 8 years. Also, you might not recognize my husband. He does not look like that anymore. He's got a beard. He looks like 12 in that picture. It's awesome. So I started my business and I was really bad. I had a Nikon D3100. I was shooting on auto mode. I didn't have an external flash. I didn't know what I was doing. I was shooting on an 18 to 55 millimeter lens and I didn't know anything about anything. And I was $35. My clients were my family and friends because they loved me and they didn't care that I was bad because they loved me. And I had no aspirations of doing bigger or better things. I really was content with where I was at the time. I thought I was doing great. I thought I was good, but looking back, I was really bad. And I thought I was making money because, $35 adds up when you're a poor college kid. But then when you look at the end of the year and you realize, wow, I'm negative. I spent this much on this, and this. And I, had 100 sessions at $35, but that doesn't even cover the costs of running a business. So this is where I started. 88 people like my page. This is what Facebook used to look like. I have a screenshot of my page from the beginning, and my blog spot is amazing. This is what my pictures look like. If you can see that, the outside, it's black and white, so super cool picture. And, that's just what I was. I was just going with the trends, not making money at all, not making any money, having fun. But it came to a point in 2013 after I became a mom. This is my little baby, Brody, firstborn. And in 2013, I had to choose if I was going to be a business or if I was going to just take pictures of my kids for fun. Because for 2 years, I was just a photographer on the side. I was a family and friends photographer, taking pictures of people I knew and their friends and their dogs and events and weddings and newborns. You name it, I was there. I didn't stick to my prices. I didn't stick to a schedule. I was taking anything and everything. But after I had my first baby, everything changed. I quit my day job to stay home with him, and I finished my bachelor's degree online, and my perspective changed drastically. I realized in that moment that being a mom was my most important job. And if I wanted to continue to do photography, I needed to commit to it. Commit to a business, commit to my prices, commit to a schedule. If I was going to spend so many hours away from my sweet new baby, it needed to be worth it emotionally and financially. So in 2014, I went full-time. I started specializing in what brought me joy and what I was best at, which was weddings and families. I stopped taking jobs that didn't bring me satisfaction, newborns, pets, and I stuck to my prices. I committed to investing in education. I committed to growing my business. I committed to blogging. My business boomed, and it's never been the same since. By 2014, I was full-time. I was shooting 25 weddings a year. I was pregnant with my second baby. In 2015, I had 2 babies, full-time business, and so many emails. Our demand had outgrown the supply, and we expanded to 2 full-time photographers. This is Rachel. She has been a godsend in my life since she came into it. I think, was it 2015? It was the beginning of 2015. We didn't hire her till the end of 2015. We did hire her, we as in I. I hired Rachel in 2015, and she was my personal slave at first. She did basically everything except for anything photography related, and I felt really bad because she had a bachelor in fine arts in photography. She had just graduated with her BFA in photography. She packed my house because we were moving. She watched my kids. She changed bums. She did mail runs. I hate the post office. She still sometimes does mail runs. She doesn't get paid enough for that because mail runs are the worst, especially when you have kids. She saw the ins and outs of my business and earned my trust a million times over. And so in 2015, she was promoted from assistant/slave to full-time wedding photographer. And in 2016, she shot 50 weddings. In 2016, we had to hire an editor. We had to hire a bride specialist, serving our brides with weekly bride tips and inspiration. We were growing, and this was amazing. But as amazing as it was, something was missing. Balance, self-care, time management, presence. I legitimately lost my mind. It was almost 3 years ago when I was in the middle of a family shoot, and my memory completely disappeared. I finished the shoot. I still don't know how. It was a miracle. And then I called my husband and I said, I don't remember anything. I didn't remember calling him. I called him 3 times on the way home, and we headed to the ER, and they diagnosed me with a stress migraine, gave me some great drugs. I slept like a baby, And that made me lose my memory for several hours. The MRI was clear, the labs were okay, but that was the beginning of the downhill for me. I started losing my memory constantly. I was always stressed, overworked, anxious, overwhelmed, scared. I started having panic attacks, which if you've ever had a panic attack, it is very scary. I had to have my husband come pick me up from the gym one day. I couldn't even go pick up my daughter from childcare because I was in full panic and I barely could make it out of the gym. I almost had him have to come into the dressing room to come get me. I was keeping track of over 75 brides with an Excel spreadsheet. Nothing was automated. There were no systems. It was only a matter of time before one would get forgotten. Thank the heavens we did not forget a bride. And one fall evening, though, I did forget a family. I didn't forget it completely, luckily, but somehow, somewhere, I miswrote the appointment, and I was an hour late. I showed up to my session, and the mom was almost in tears. It was horrible. I felt so bad. I drove home from that session, and I knew that something had to change. That same week, I was diagnosed with adrenal fatigue, hormone imbalances. Basically, I was just a hot mess. And that's when I knew I had to shift from being a small business to being a CEO of my business, because I was no longer a small business, but I was still treating it with that small business mindset where I can do anything and everything and I can keep up with it all. Today, I'm going to be sharing the 3 things that saved my business and my life and my family. Once 2017 rolled around, it became the best year for my business and for my family. So not only did we continue to grow, we added amazing Hillary to our team. We grew our clientele, we grew our revenue, but I worked the least amount of time in the history of Kylee Studios. I took my kids and my husband on vacations all over the country. I traveled for I think I took over 25 flights pregnant that year. And we went from the East Coast to the West Coast to Hawaii and all around. I had days off, I had weekends off, I had weeks off, and I felt like a whole being finally. I invested in myself, and it was amazing. And then in 2018, we brought on Macy, and I felt like I barely worked at all in 2018. I felt like I had so much more balance. This is our team. We have a system and an expert dedicated to every part of the process. Emails, editing, shooting, social media, scheduling. Because we work as a team instead of overwhelmed individuals trying to do too much at once, we can promise quality work and efficiency every step of the way. We're not feeling overworked or overwhelmed because we're only doing a piece of the puzzle like it should be. We don't have to do everything. I think a lot of people, we start this business because we're good at something, and then we do the web design and we start the blog and we post the blogs. If you look at any other companies that are growing, that are successful, they have a person for every single one of those tasks. They're not doing it all, and we shouldn't either. So this was me before getting slapped in the face by life, and now it's 2019. I'm a mom of 3 beautiful children, including a very crazy 1-year-old who's into everything, a spunky and adventurous 4-year-old, and a very extremely talkative 6-year-old. I'm running a business with an amazing group of girl bosses. I'm running the Art Photog Blog community of photographers with 3,000 of the most kind photographers on the internet. I'm teaching workshops all over the nation. I'm speaking all over the nation, and I'm still growing my business. But I'm not busy. I'm not busy anymore. There are times when I'm prepping for a conference or I'm launching a product or whatever, where I'm in this hustle for a week or so. But when I look back on a year, I'm not working the whole year. I have a system, and I have outsourcing, and I have automation, and I'm working less, making more, and staying sane, which is amazing. So I'm going to share that right now. I'm going to share how I transitioned from small business to CEO in 3 simple ways. What if you could run your business in just a few hours a week? What if you could stop doing all the things that you hate in your business? Why are you doing them? What if you could make money without sacrificing your lifestyle? Aren't we entrepreneurs because we want a lifestyle? We want to be able to be home with our kids or travel when we want or buy the things that we want, whatever. Why are we doing that at the expense of our lifestyle? We are working around the clock to make that happen. Is it worth it? So today I'm going to talk about these 3 things. So the first one is outsourcing. I'm here to tell you, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. If you are constantly maintaining your business, you're never going to be able to grow your business. Where is your time best spent? Is it shooting? Is it marketing? Is it editing? Is it designing pricing guides? Are you the only one that can clean your house? No! There are things that others can do for you, sometimes better and faster. So you need to decide what brings in the income, what you enjoy, and what you do best. And then outsource the rest. There are tons of people that will do your blogging, your editing, your album making, your mailing, your email answering. What do you absolutely dread? Outsource it. Spend 1 hour cleaning your house or spend 1 hour making money by shooting. Am I good at it? Does it have to be me doing it? Do I enjoy it? These are the 3 questions I tell people to ask themselves. If you're good at it, that's okay. There are other people you can train to be just as good. Sometimes people become better than you. Does it have to be you doing it? No, it doesn't. There are some things that have to be you. You need to do those things. And then the third thing, do you enjoy it? Because here's the thing. I enjoy editing. We're going to talk about editing a little bit more, but I enjoy editing. I do. But I don't enjoy editing around the clock. So you also have to ask yourself, do you enjoy it? But do you enjoy it all the time? Do you enjoy how much you're doing of it? Because I think that's the second part of that question. Do less, but do less better. So here are the fears that I hear about outsourcing. The first one is, I don't have money to outsource. So this is a hard one because it's a hard thing to wrap your head around, that you're actually making more money when you're outsourcing. At first, it is cost. It is costing you money to outsource. But with that time, you're able to do more money-making tasks and or things that bring you joy in that time, that it ends up being less money to outsource than it is to do it all yourself. And it's hard for people to understand this, but so I was at a conference and I was in a pricing, budgeting, whatever, finance class for photographers, and everybody was writing up. It was amazing. Everyone was writing up. We were supposed to write down the hours, the amount of hours it took us to do a wedding, how much we charged, and like how much it cost. So I wrote down obviously the shooting hours, so like 6 hours shooting, whatever, an hour-ish for travel typically, whatever, an hour for emailing, I don't know. I was just really simple numbers. But then after the wedding, 0 hours for editing, 0 hours for blogging, 0 hours for all these different things. Other people were like, they were like 8 hours for the wedding and travel or whatever, emailing, and then 20 hours for the editing, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I was charging half as much as these other photographers, but I was making 10 times as much per hour because of how long it took them to edit and do make the album, all the things that I outsourced that cost me maybe, $150, $200 total to outsource. And then I divide the rest of the money I make from that wedding over the amount of hours. I was making 10 times as much per hour and charging half as much. Give up your $10 an hour jobs. Give up the editing or the blogging or the things you hate. We're going to talk about the things to outsource in a minute. But you have to sacrifice money to be able to have more money. The next thing is the fear that they can't do it as good as you. So here's the thing. You do not have to give up the control to have the control of your life. So you can find someone who is as good as you. You don't have to sacrifice quality. Other people do it better and they like it. So you can find someone who's good at it, and if you're feeling like, okay, but they need to work on this or this or this or whatever, then you train them. You bring them in and you say, okay, I'm struggling with this and this. Can you focus on this and this? Give them education. Pay for them to learn, because in the long run, it's going to help you 10 times over if you take the time to train them to be as good as you. The next thing is I don't have time to teach someone how to do it my way. I hear this all the time and I think that's so silly because you don't have time not to. You can spend 4 hours teaching someone and save hundreds of hours in the process with 4 hours. You need to avoid the burnout and the feeling that you're constantly drowning by focusing 1 week on training someone so you have the rest of the 51 weeks of the year. If you free up even 10 hours a week to stop editing, can you imagine what you could do for your business or your life in those 10 hours? You could easily market yourself enough to book a new client to pay for all that outsourcing. You could network with new vendors you want to work with. You can build connections. Outsourcing, when done correctly, is a return on your investment and a return on your time. I love this last fear because it's my favorite one. People say, I don't want people to think that I can't handle it. And when I first started outsourcing, I had a few competitors that would tell my clients, she doesn't even edit your work, right? Or, she does it, And the thing about it is the clients do not care. If you train someone and you give them your preset, you train them to edit exactly like you, and they can't tell the difference between who edits, who cares? Because they get their pictures back in 24 hours. And that competitor, I'm sure, was just justifying the fact that it took them 8 weeks to return a session. And, it's because they put their own heart and soul into it. I do too. I put my heart and soul in hiring people that do the best job, that are quick, that edit exactly the way I want. And the more help you get with maintaining your business, the more you're able to grow your business. And when you're growing your business, that's when people look at you and say, oh my goodness, how does she do it? They don't look at me and say, she can't handle it because she needs help. They look at me and say, that girl is a girl boss. She's doing what she loves, not what she thinks she needs to do. We have to get back to doing what we are created to do, not all the busy work that we hate. Why are we doing that? We need to do what we love, what we're good at, what we are born and created to do. So here's a list of things to outsource. You don't have to outsource editing if that's your pride and joy. But what if you hate blogging? You hate to write. You hate to organize the pictures. You hate to figure out the SEO. You don't like to be the emailer. You don't like to schedule your Instagram. Outsourcing can also be childcare, house cleaning, laundry. It doesn't have to, if you want to focus on everything in your business right now, if you're not ready to let go of the control of your business, that's okay. I was at that point. And so instead I'd have people come watch my babies, clean my house, do my laundry, album designing, accounting and bookkeeping, social media marketing. There are so many things you can outsource. I literally, for over a year, had someone come and fold my laundry. I can rotate it, I can do it, I can clean it, but I hate folding it. I hate hanging it up. So I had someone come and do that every week for over a year. So you can be creative of what you need in your life. There are businesses, companies that are specialized in each kind of these kind of tasks, cleaning companies, editing companies, whatever. Or you can hire someone, an intern or an employee, a student who works in exchange for experience or really reasonable pay. I have mostly made up my business of moms or college students that need a side hustle or need an extra job. Also, I want to stress how important it is to have kid-free work time. You need to hire a sitter. If you are a mom, you need to have a sitter come, even if it's just 2 hours a week. Right now, I work in 6 hours a week. I do all of my business, and this is for 3 different businesses. I have 6 employees. We shoot 75 brides a year. We shoot over 100 sessions. We blog every one of those brides. And I can do it all in 6 hours a week. It doesn't have to be full-time or even part-time. You can run your business in whatever time you give yourself. But I promise you, in 2 hours a week of kid-free work time, you're going to get a bajillion more things done than you tried in 40 hours with the kids. Because you were multitasking and you were like on your computer blogging, and then you heard something crashing in the other room and you ran in there and you got out of, and then you go back into blogging and then something else happens. 2 hours of designated work time is a miracle. When I'm done working, I can be a mom because it's about them. I've finished my work. and I don't have to stress always about what I'm not getting done or not being with my kids. It's a miracle for both of them. Plus, my kids love having a babysitter. Sometimes they're just sick of me and I'm sick of them, and they like to just play. And right now, my babysitter's here, and she's in the other room playing with my kids, and I'm in here doing this. I think that a lot of people are worried about leaving their kids or whatever. If my kids are really hurt or they really need me, I'm in the other room most of the time. There are times I have to go to shoots or I have to go to meetings, but for the most part, my babysitter and me are in the same house at the same time. My kids are still here. They're just, someone else is taking care of their needs for 6 hours a week so that I can be the best mom and the best business owner that I could possibly be. The next part of the 3 things that have changed my business is creating a system for every part of my business. Systems are survival. Systems make a business profitable, possible, sustainable, consistent. Without systems, you cannot grow. Everything in your business can be duplicated for each client you work with when you use a system. I can't believe I didn't have systems. I didn't have a process. I was just winging it. And maybe you are too. Maybe you just started your business and every single situation is different. Systems are so important. I'm going to talk about some key systems I have. So my first system I want to talk about is my social media scheduling system. This is what I do. I use Planoly. There's a referral at the bottom. I use Planoly and I export my favorites from a session right when I'm done editing. So I edit the photos, I export all the photos, and then I go through and star my fives and export all my favorites. This folder is going to be used for blogging, scheduling, making a favorites folder in the gallery. So right there, doing the favorites folder has lots of purposes, but I'll take that favorites folder and then I'll import them into Planoly. And then one day a week or a month, depending on how much I have in there, I'll go through and I'll write my captions. And I'll do it at a time where I'm actually like in a caption writing mood. I feel like the writing flow coming to me. And once I get in the groove, I can pump out like 10 captions or 15 captions in like 30 minutes because I'm in a writing mood. But if I'm trying to post a caption on the spot, in the car, on the way to something, it takes me 30 minutes just to write one. So having a system for social media scheduling has been huge in my life. The next thing is emailing. This is so important. I have email templates for every single email I've ever written. If I write it once, I'm probably going to have to write it twice. Why am I writing it over and over and over? The point of an email template is not to take the personal connection out of an email. We are just giving them consistent information. So it's actually helping our client experience because one bride emails us and then another bride emails us and they're getting the same information. It doesn't change because of what we're in the mood to reply. It's just the same. And then I can personalize the email in the beginning. Hey, thanks so much for emailing us. I love that venue. We shot there, da-da-da-da. This is a link, blah, 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 blah. What are your colors, blah, blah, blah. And then I have the copied and pasted information that I use every single time in the email list. What our packages include, our pricing guide, all those different things. So I have an email for the initial inquiry, follow-up 1, follow-up 2, a session reminder and prep email. Your date's already been booked. Here's our referral list. We have another bride looking at the same date as you. Session, a gallery email, invoice due email, a thanks for your payment email, your session has been blogged email, your gallery is live email. Just so many different email templates, hundreds of email templates. Because if I write it once, I don't need to write it again. I use Tave. It's a client management system. It's amazing. It stores all of my email templates. But before that, I would just use Notes. I love Tave for so many reasons. In my left brain photography class, you can kind of walk through my Tave and how I have it set up. But it's been like it's been a miracle in my life. Managing any amounts of brides is hard, but we're at a point where I'm managing 500 leads a year, 75 brides, a bajillion invoices and contracts and questionnaires, and it's all in one place, and that's why I love Tave. even if I was just shooting my own weddings, I would still use it. So it's not just for someone who has a lot of photographers working for them or is getting a lot of inquiries. It keeps track of the lead, and then it keeps track of your templates. It keeps track of your invoices, your contracts, your questionnaires. Once you book one, you can save that as a quote template. So if you have someone who wants to book a 6-hour package, I can attach the contract, the questionnaire, and the payment schedule to that, and then save that as a template. And anytime someone books my 6-hour package, they're going to get the contract, the questionnaire, and the payment schedule, and I don't have to do it twice ever again. It takes me literally 5 minutes to send to book an entire, or less, probably 1 minute to book a bride, to be like, oh, you're ready for your invoice? Here you go. If I have to customize it, it maybe takes 5 minutes, but if I don't, it takes 1 minute to book. It's amazing. Okay, and then the next thing is editing and delivery. So my system for editing, this is when I don't outsource. So obviously you can outsource editing. The tools I use, the 4-drive card reader, so I can upload all of my cards from a wedding at once. I use Photo Mechanic for culling, Lightroom for editing, and Pass for gallery uploading. So I pull my stuff into Photo Mechanic for culling. I use 010101 to cull really quickly. I can cull a session in minutes because I shoot. I don't overshoot anymore. I make sure that when I'm shooting, I am taking a mental note of the shots that I love and I want to keep. I keep a lot of shots, so maybe that's why it's easy to cull, because I don't cull it down to a small number. I keep everything it turns out. So in my head, I'm like, okay, that one was awkward. That one was good. That was awkward. That was okay. That's a little blurry, but I took 2, so that's the one I keep, whatever. So then I'm going to import all those cold photos into Lightroom with the preset on them. That means my style is already done. All the style that I do to every single picture, that's done. Now I'm going to batch edit. So everything shot in the first, this is gold, guys. I have my whole 1-hour workflow that I walk through each of these steps kind of slower, but this will change the workflow. So then I batch edit. So if I shot 10 under a tree and then I shot 10 by the lake, I'll edit all those 10 at once, the next 10 at once, the next 10, because the lighting probably didn't change. If you're shooting in manual, you can probably do the same edit on each of those. Then I'll quickly go through and I'll tweak them, make sure everything's good, and then I will export them all to a done folder, export my favorites, and I'm done. It takes me an hour or less to edit a session, probably 15 to 20 minutes to edit a session. So now we're going to talk about automation. So you're going to do it once, you're going to do your system one time, and then you're never going to do it again. Social media scheduling. So I turn on auto post to Planoly. So I go in there and I schedule all my stuff, and then I turn on auto post, and then I can walk away from my phone for a whole month and it will automatically post to Instagram for me. Another thing that I don't have a graphic for, but I do Pinterest automation. I'll go through and I'll schedule my Pinterest with Tailwind. I have a coupon if you want that. I schedule my pins for the month to post at the best times of day, 15 pins a day, because being active on Pinterest is how you grow your views and your following. And I've grown from 0 to 500,000 views a month just by being consistent with my posting. But I do that once a month or less, and I schedule them, and then they will automatically post to Pinterest. The next thing that I have automated is my emailing. So I send a follow-up, and automatically will send a follow-up. If I don't hear a response from a bride, it will automatically send a follow-up 3 days after, and then another follow-up 7 days after. A session reminder goes out automatically 10 days before their session. The invoice due email goes out 30 days before their session or their wedding.